All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA props video. Going to be breaking down the top prop bets here for the 5-game slate on Saturday. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I do want to start out here with Buzelis. There we go. I like him to get over 15.5 points. Now, when we're looking at the prop bets that we're getting, guys, we are getting 15.5 as a bet or 16.5 as a bet. I would be more comfortable betting him at 15.5 for his over. So the bet right now would be on Underdog for over 15.5 points. If you want to get to 16.5, I think you could end up doing it. So the reason why I like this is because we know that Zach Collins and also Kobe White are out in this game. Throughout the season last year, he averaged 20 points per 36 with those two players off the court. We see in the last game, guys, he only got 34 minutes, which, okay, that's fine. But I still like the fact that he was able to get to 21 points in that game. The one thing that concerns me is the amount of shot attempts that he got up. Only 12 shot attempts. Sure, he got 7 free throws. We like that aspect there. 0 for 3 from 3 as well. I don't like that, but this game is casually a high-scoring game as well, so I do like him to get over 15.5 points on Underdog. And then the other bet that I like is going to be Benedict Mathurin to get over 20.5 points. Now, this line is much more tight than what we had just a couple of days ago, where he was my favorite bet on the board. He ended up getting that over pretty easily. Part of the reason as to why I like this is if we look at his preseason stats this past preseason, guys, he averaged 16.5 points on about 18 minutes. So it was expected that he was going to be able to kind of get to 36 minutes and just be able to crush that over. And then if you look at his per 36 production as well, last year with Miles Turner off the court, with Tyrese Halliburton off the court, he consistently saw his points spike by a decent amount, 1.8 more points per 36 to about 20.7. But on top of this bet, we are also seeing that Andrew Nembhard is going to be out in this game as well, which is going to shift a little bit more usage to Benedict Mathurin. And then also this game against Memphis is going to be pretty appealing as well. Unfortunately, guys, last night with Norman Powell, who's one of my favorite bets, it seemed like he was well on his way to getting there. The Miami Heat just blew out the Memphis Grizzlies to the point where we saw limited minutes for all of Miami, which, again, was pretty unfortunate. So hopefully, and I don't think it would happen, hopefully this game ends up staying close. And it's worth calling out, guys, looking at the game total for this game, a close game, and it's also a pretty high-scoring game, 236 as well. So that is an aspect that I like about this bet. Now, I do just want to call out the lines that we're getting for him. It is kind of interesting, his points, rebounds, and assists at 32.5. And the reason why it's interesting is because let's just give Mathurin 6 rebounds here. Then you give him 3.5 assists as well. Okay, so 9.5 rebounds and assists. You attach that to 20.5 points, that's 30 PRA. So they're giving him 2.5 more. That is kind of crazy. Okay, I don't really understand how that line is truly happening. Same thing with his points and assists. So obviously one of those two bets are off. If you like him to get over 3.5 assists, you could get to that. I don't like that bet. If you looked at, again, his preseason stats, he only averaged in the 18 minutes 0.5 assists. Okay, he's just shooting the basketball more. And so I think the best way to attack this is via his over points. Okay, but it's fascinating that the prop line differences that we are getting there. I don't necessarily like his over 3 pointers made, but it is one that did stand out to me a little bit. I think we're best just attacking his over 1.5 3 pointers made. So then another bet that I do like as well, not as much as the other two, is going to be Colin Sexton to get over 15.5 points. Part of the reason as to why I'm a little bit hesitant to get to this is the amount of minutes that he ended up playing in the last game. So when we pull it up, guys, only 17 minutes in that game and really only 3 assists there. Now, that game was a blowout. I understand that. He should be able to get over 17 minutes in this game, probably closer to 25 is what I would imagine. But let's go ahead and see what the projection data is telling us. Okay, so actually the projection data only giving him about 20 minutes. So hopefully that's inaccurate and it gets a little bit more than that. I do like the game total, guys, as well, 234.5. Maybe a slight blowout risk. Charlotte is going to be 6-point dogs in this game. Don't necessarily love that, but overall, we see his projected to get 12 points and then 3.5 assists. So basically right there, that's okay. But it's more just he has been very good throughout the preseason. I thought he looked good, in the first game as well, even in limited minutes. And so I'm willing to bet on that, but at the same time, it is a tighter bet. And then just want to touch on some other bets that I think are okay as well. Nikola Vucevic get over 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Sure, you could argue against Detroit, he ended up having an easier matchup, but we did see him just have a bunch of usage, and he was very productive, obviously, in that game. Going against Orlando, which seems to be not as good as a defensive team as it was last year, I think we're fine getting to Vucevic, who's going to be one of the star players. Now, don't get me wrong, Josh Giddey's a player that we're looking at, and then we're also looking at Buzelis there as well as a good prop bet for his over points. So maybe don't necessarily want to load up too much on Chicago, but it really should be those three, again, with Kobe White and Zach Collins out. Now, it is worth calling out that when we look at that bet, guys, the under is slightly favored, but it's basically a 50-50 split. So I think I'm okay with that. Don't necessarily love the fact that the projection data is also telling us to bet the under there. And let's just go ahead and just take a peek at the top prop bets that we are currently getting on the boards, guys. It is a tighter slate as I'm currently recording this video. We are not getting any PRA prop bets. I do think it's worth calling out Jaren Jackson Jr., though. Okay, so Memphis is coming in off of a back-to-back. They did end up getting blown out, but I think the expectation would be that in a back-to-back, Ja Morant ends up sitting typically in those games. And so if he ends up sitting one, that does put us at risk of the game being a blowout. But if it stays close, Jaren Jackson Jr. would be the reason as to why. And so I don't mind the idea of potentially getting to Jaren Jackson Jr. for over 31.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Then I do just want to talk about OKC as well, guys. So we are seeing that Wallace is currently questionable for them. And then you also have Chet Holmgren that's currently questionable. So we already know that Caruso's out, Isaiah Joe's out, and then a bunch of their backups are still out as well. And so if Case and Wallace is going to end up sitting, that becomes pretty huge. Like Dort should end up getting a little bit more run, but obviously the prop bets that we'd be looking at the most would probably be Isaiah Hartenstein. He would be forced to get some shot attempts up, and he better be able to get this over then. So an interesting spot there. And then I don't necessarily think we need to go in on SGA, but he has obviously been productive there as well, and that would just shift even more usage to him. The player I'd want to get to the most is actually AJ Mitchell, who has been productive for them, has been productive for them, played heavy minutes in the last game with Wallace out for them, and obviously went off, got a shot ton stuff. He's a high usage rate type of player, and I don't think the lines would properly adjust for him. So just be on the lookout for that. That could end up easily being the biggest edge that we end up getting on the slate. And then I do want to call it, like I would like the overs for Desmond Bane if we were getting some standard bets for him. Like just going through it, guys, he just has a higher usage rate in the spot. And in the spot, it's going to potentially be without Jalen Suggs again. He's currently questionable. And obviously, it's a pretty good matchup. I don't want to bet on his over points. I think that line is basically correct for him. The one I would want to get to the most is going to be like his over assist, again, with that increased usage, with Jalen Suggs off the court. But his lines, for the most part, do seem to be correct. And then the last prop bet that I'll mention that I somewhat like as well is going to be Jalen Williams to get over his points here. So Memphis, as we know, is just extremely banged up, guys. The potential for Ja Morant to sit on the back end of the back-to-back is less likely in this game because they got blown out last game. And I do think the reason as to why Jalen Williams didn't get his over last game is because they got blown out. Now, he's not someone that's going to get a lot of shot attempts up. That is a concern for me. In their first game, he only got 28 minutes as well, only 8 shot attempts. And so, yes, we do want that number to be a little bit higher. In the last game, guys, 3 for 9. So not seeing him shoot the basketball all too well as well. So that is a concern for sure. I don't mind the matchup, though, going against the Pacers. And if this game stays close like Vegas is expecting, I don't mind that. We do have like a casual game stack we could get to then in this game. So guys, going ahead and get into the bet of the day here, we have a 2-slip bet here on Underdog. Again, going to go with Buzelis there to get over 15.5 points. I think that ends up being a better spot for us, even with the reduced payout. You could do 16.5 there. And then Benedict Mathurin with the expected increase in usage with Nembhard off the court as well. I think that ends up being a good spot for us there. So 2-slip bet. We will be getting better prop bets that pop up throughout the day. So just be on the lookout for those. Those will probably just end up being fantasy score prop bets. PrizePicks and Underdog are typically a little bit slower coming out with those bets though throughout the day because it's Saturday, because there's college football going on, and because they're getting ready for NFL. That can actually lead to some pretty darn good edges for us on Saturday. So just be on the lookout for that, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you guys would like access to any of the tools that you saw throughout this video, head on over to 95sports.com. Get access to all those tools for a low monthly cost of $10 a month. Appreciate you being here. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.